It's confirmed. The CIA's secret alien base in Alaska has been blown wide open. Scheduled for a shocking revelation in 2024, this hidden facility could change everything we know about extraterrestrial life. Deep in the icy expanse, close encounters of the third kind aren't just movie plots. They're real. Our defense systems are in the dark. They're not equipped for interstellar visitors. Join us as we dive into the heart of Alaska's mysteries, confronting alien realities we never imagined. Project Blue Book's UFO study. In Hollywood films, especially the ones about science fiction, aliens have become as well known as characters from big comic book companies like Marvel or DC. These space characters are often just for fun, made up to add excitement to movies. However, it's not just all make-believe for everyone. Quite a few people truly think that these beings from outer space are real. They don't see them as just movie characters, but as actual visitors from other planets. Some of these believers are really sure that these alien beings are not just any ordinary creatures. They think that these aliens come from a place where they have technology far more advanced than ours. They believe these space visitors have come to Earth with a specific purpose. Some suggest they're here to learn about how strong our armies are or what kind of weapons we have. This belief was fueled by an incident in 2018. People reported seeing an unidentified aerial phenomenon, like a jelly-like shape, hovering over a United States Army base in Iraq. But that's not the only story out there. Just in the first month of a recent year, there were reports of two very close meetings with beings from other worlds. These beings were said to be nearly 10 feet tall. One sighting was right outside a shopping center in Miami, USA, and the other was seen on a hill in Brazil. These events keep adding to the mystery and curiosity about life beyond our planet. For many years now, the sky has been dotted with sightings of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs as they're commonly known. People from all over the world have reported seeing strange objects flying in the sky, objects that move in ways no airplane or helicopter could. This has sparked a lot of interest and has led to various investigations. One of the most notable investigations into these mysterious sightings was called Project Blue Book. This was a real study carried out by the United States Air Force. They looked into reports of unidentified flying objects to figure out what they could be. It became one of the most famous projects trying to understand these strange occurrences in the sky. This study, among others, shows that the interest in and the mystery of UFOs is something that has captured the minds of many people for a long time. Project Blue Book was a major research effort by the United States Air Force. It began in 1952 and wrapped up in 1969. The main goal of this big project was to look into reports of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs for short. This kind of study was really important because more and more people were claiming they saw strange things in the sky, especially after a notable event in 1947. Let's talk about that 1947 event. A man named Kenneth Arnold, who was both a businessman and a pilot, said he saw 9 objects moving at high speed near Mount Rainier in Washington. The way he described these objects flying like a saucer skipping across water made a lot of people start using the term flying saucers to describe these mysterious objects. This sighting got a lot of attention and made many more people start looking up into the sky, wondering what might be out there. Because so many people were seeing these strange things and talking about them, the United States Air Force decided they needed to do something. They started an investigation called Operation Sign in 1948 to figure out what these flying objects might be. This operation later changed and became known as Project Blue Book. The main question they wanted to answer was whether these UFOs were real, and if they were, what they could be. As more and more people reported seeing UFOs, the US government began to worry. They were concerned that all these stories and sightings could cause people to panic. They thought that if too many people believed aliens might be invading, it could lead to widespread fear. To deal with these concerns, the CIA put together a group of experts in 1953. This group was called the Robertson Panel, named after its leader, a physicist named H.P. Robertson. The Robertson Panel spent time looking over all sorts of evidence. They talked to military people who had reported seeing strange things and looked at photos and videos. After all this, they came to a conclusion. They thought that most of the UFO sightings people reported were actually just natural things like stars or clouds. Some were even man-made objects, like balloons or airplanes, that looked odd from far away. The panel said that these UFOs weren't a threat to the country's safety. They believed there was no reason for everyone to be afraid of these sightings. But even with this conclusion, the interest and curiosity about UFOs didn't go away. Project Blue Book continued for many years, trying to get to the bottom of hundreds and hundreds of reports. People from all walks of life, including pilots, police officers, and everyday citizens, reported seeing unusual objects in the sky. Each of these reports was checked out, with the aim of finding a reasonable explanation for each one. Over the years, Project Blue Book collected lots of data and looked into a great number of UFO sightings. They worked hard to figure out what was causing people to see these strange things in the sky. While they found explanations for many sightings, some remained unexplained. Project Blue Book was a big project run by the United States Air Force for many years. Its main job was to look into and study over 12,000 different reports and sightings of UFOs, which stands for unidentified flying objects. These are things in the sky that people can't easily explain. The team behind Project Blue Book worked hard to figure out what each of these sightings might really be. Most of the time when they looked into these reports, they found out there were ordinary explanations behind them. For example, some of the things people thought were UFOs were actually just regular planes, balloons, or even weather phenomena. Other times, what people saw were just stars, planets, or other normal things in the sky that looked strange because of how the light was shining or because of the weather. There were also cases where what people saw turned out to be tricks of the light or illusions. Kind of like when you think you see water on a hot road, but it's not really there. But even with all their hard work, there were still about 700 sightings that Project Blue Book couldn't explain. They just didn't have enough information to figure out what these particular objects or lights were. This doesn't necessarily mean they were spaceships or aliens, but it does mean that not every mystery in the sky could be solved. The project didn't go on forever. It ended after a big study called the Condon Report came out in 1968. This report was led by a scientist named Edward Condon, and it took a close look at a bunch of different UFO cases that Project Blue Book had studied. After reviewing everything, the Condon Report suggested that the government should stop spending time and money looking into UFOs. They said that the investigations weren't really helping to learn anything new or important for science. Basically, they thought that the UFO studies weren't a good use of resources because they weren't leading to any big scientific discoveries. In 1969, not long after the Condon Report was published, the Air Force decided to shut down Project Blue Book. They agreed with the report's findings that most of the UFO sightings could be explained by normal, everyday things. They also said that the sightings that couldn't be explained weren't giving any proof of advanced technology or evidence of visitors from other planets. Around the same time, there were fewer and fewer reports of UFOs, which made it seem like a good time to end the project. After peeking behind the alien curtain, let's step forward and explore how these mysterious tales are influencing our world today. The 2024 Alien Connection Theory. Even after Project Blue Book was officially closed, people all over the world remained curious and fascinated by the idea of UFOs. They wondered if there might be mysterious objects flying in the sky that could come from other planets. This interest didn't just fade away. Instead, it stayed strong among regular folks who weren't part of the government or any official group. One of the most notable people who kept the curiosity alive was J. Allen Hynek. He was a smart man who knew a lot about stars and space, an astronomer. He had even given advice to Project Blue Book while it was going on. But when the project ended, he didn't stop wondering about the mysteries in the sky. Instead, he decided to keep looking into the reports of UFOs. He set up a special place called the Center for UFO Studies. This center was his way of continuing to explore the possibility that some UFOs could be coming from places beyond our Earth. He believed it was important to keep studying these mysterious sightings, and his center allowed other interested people to join in and help with this work. The interest in UFOs wasn't just something happening in the United States. It was a global phenomenon. Different countries around the world started their own research into these unexplained sightings. From Europe to South America to Asia, people everywhere were reporting strange lights or objects in the sky and forming groups to study these reports. This shows how the curiosity about UFOs is something that brings people together across different cultures and continents. They all share a common interest in trying to understand the unknown. The story of Project Blue Book and the ongoing fascination with UFOs didn't just stay in scientific or research circles. It also made its way into popular culture. The History Channel, a TV network that makes shows about different parts of history, decided to create a series called Project Blue Book. This show was on the air from 2019 to 2020 and aimed to bring the real investigations of UFOs from the time of Project Blue Book to life on the screen. The TV series tried to show what it was like back then, with people reporting sightings of strange objects and teams trying to figure out what they were. It was meant to entertain viewers by mixing together real events and added drama. However, not everyone was happy with how the show was made. Some people pointed out that the series took a lot of liberties with the truth. They added in events that never happened or changed the details of real investigations. This caused a bit of controversy because while some viewers enjoyed the drama, others were disappointed by the inaccuracies and the way the show changed historical facts. Until now, people have never been this close to something from another planet. This is making those who search for aliens and unidentified flying objects very excited. They think that the year 2024 might be the special time when creatures from another world will finally reach out and make a connection with humans. It's still a mystery whether these space beings will come in peace or bring trouble. We just have to wait and see what happens. However, there's a group of people who are convinced that aliens have already started talking to some powerful leaders from different countries. They say that there is a secret project happening right now where humans and aliens are working together. This secret project is rumored to be taking place somewhere in the cold and remote parts of Alaska in the United States. So this raises big questions. Is the government of the United States keeping secrets from the rest of us? Are they working together with beings from outer space to create new types of weapons for the military? These are big questions that many people want answers to. Back in December 2023, a new rule called the UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Disclosure Act, was set up. According to this rule, the government of the United States must gather all the information about sightings of unidentified flying objects and share this information with everyone within 25 years. This made many people who believe in UFOs and aliens think even more strongly that the government is keeping secrets from them. They feel this law shows that the government might have a lot of hidden information about otherworldly visitors. This situation isn't new. The US government has found itself in similar situations before. A lot of people really think that a place called Area 51, which is located in Nevada, USA, is not just a regular military base. Instead, they believe it's a top secret area where the government keeps alien spaceships and maybe even aliens themselves locked up for studying. These people think that the government has been using this place to learn more about technology from other planets for a long time. The idea doesn't stop there. There are also stories that the US government has secret meetings with aliens in another place far away in Alaska. And it's not just random talk. Alaska has a reputation for a very high number of UFO sightings, more than most places. There's a particular area there known as the Alaska Triangle. This triangle is formed by drawing lines between three cities, Anchorage, Juneau, and Barrow, which is close to the border with Canada and within Alaska itself. Now, prepare to step into the heart of mystery, the Alaska Triangle, a place filled with stories stranger than fiction. Navigating Alaska's harsh terrain. The Alaska Triangle is a large, mysterious space that stretches between three cities, Utqiagvik, formerly known as Barrow, Anchorage, and Juneau. This vast area is famous, or infamous, for a very high number of people and vehicles disappearing without a trace. Since the year 1988, more than 16,000 individuals have vanished in this enigmatic region, which is a figure well above the average for the rest of the United States. The story of the Alaska Triangle began to spread widely back in 1972, after a very high-profile incident. A plane carrying U.S. House Majority Leader Hale Boggs, along with other passengers, disappeared into thin air while flying over this region. There was no signal, no wreckage, and no sign of any of the people on board ever found. This event triggered one of the largest search missions in U.S. history, but all efforts ended in vain. Since then, the mystery of the Alaska Triangle has deepened with each passing year, as more planes, hikers, and locals continue to disappear without a single clue left behind. What makes the Alaska Triangle especially notorious is not just the sheer number of missing people, but also the loss of many aircraft and boats. The area is wildly unforgiving and treacherous. It's filled with dense, sprawling forests that are easy to get lost in, sharp, rugged mountain peaks, and huge, sprawling glaciers. These natural features not only make navigation a huge challenge, but also create perfect hiding spots for any lost individuals or crashed vehicles. Furthermore, the weather in the Alaska Triangle can be fierce and unpredictable. Heavy snowfalls, sudden fog, and frequent avalanches add layers of danger to an already perilous landscape. These harsh conditions make surviving in the wild much harder for anyone who becomes lost. Additionally, they significantly complicate search and rescue missions, often rendering them impossible. The Alaska Triangle is a place full of unanswered questions and mysteries, with many different theories trying to explain the unusually high number of people and objects that go missing there. Some of these theories are quite unusual and tap into the world of the paranormal, while others look at natural phenomena that could cause confusion and danger. One of the more out-of-this-world explanations involves encounters with unknown flying objects or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. People point to stories like the one from Japan Airlines Flight 1628 in 1986. During this flight, the pilot reported seeing strange objects flying in ways that didn't make sense with what we know about airplanes or the laws of physics. These sightings contribute to the belief that there's something extraordinary happening in the skies over the Alaska Triangle. Another idea is that there are energy vortexes within the triangle. These vortexes are thought to be spots on the Earth where energy spirals and can have strong effects on the human body and on technology. Some say these vortexes can make people feel dizzy or confused, or even cause their equipment to stop working properly. This could lead to getting lost or having an accident. Then there's the rich tapestry of local folklore that adds a mystical element to the Alaska Triangle. Among the most chilling are the stories of the Kushaka, a creature from the lore of the Tlingit and Tsimshian peoples. This being is said to be able to change its shape, taking forms to trick people and lead them away from safety. It's a part of the cultural stories passed down through generations, blending the lines between the natural world and the supernatural. In addition to these paranormal theories, there are also explanations based on natural science. Some researchers suggest that the Alaska Triangle could be a hotspot for negative magnetic anomalies. These anomalies could potentially interfere with the proper functioning of electronic devices and navigation equipment. If a plane's or a boat's instruments start giving incorrect readings, this could lead to getting lost or even accidents. While the mysteries and strange tales about the Alaska Triangle can be intriguing, many believe that the numerous disappearances within this area can be explained by more ordinary, yet still dangerous, natural conditions. The Alaska Triangle is known for being one of the most remote and challenging environments in the entire United States, filled with dense forests, steep and uneven ground, and extreme weather conditions. These elements create a setting where even those skilled in outdoor survival can find themselves in trouble. Firstly, the vast forests of the Alaska Triangle are dense and expansive, stretching as far as the eye can see. They are full of thick underbrush and towering trees that can easily disorient anyone, making it simple to get lost. Even with a map and compass, navigating this labyrinth of nature can be a daunting task. The forest floor is also uneven and can be treacherous, hiding dangers like sudden drops, hidden holes, or unstable ground. Moreover, the terrain within the triangle is notably rugged and varied. It's not just flat land or gentle hills. There are sharp mountains, deep valleys, and large glaciers. This rough terrain can be physically challenging to move through and can quickly exhaust even the most seasoned hikers or climbers. It's also very easy for someone to slip, fall, or suffer an injury, which can lead to them being stranded or lost. The weather adds another layer of difficulty. The Alaska Triangle is notorious for its harsh and unpredictable weather conditions. Sudden storms can bring intense snow, rain, or fog, reducing visibility to nearly zero in minutes and making navigation even more challenging. Temperatures can plummet, making hypothermia a real danger. The weather can change quickly, turning what was a manageable journey into a dangerous situation. Considering the vastness of the area, It's not just people who can disappear. Aircraft and boats can also find themselves in difficult situations. Dense fog, sudden wind shifts, and fierce storms can lead to crashes or sinkings, and the extensive wilderness can hide wreckage for years, or even forever. The remote nature of the triangle means that help may be far away, making rescue operations difficult and sometimes impossible. Unraveling secrets takes courage. Let's gear up to uncover what's truly buried beneath an Alaskan mountain's icy exterior. The mysteries of the Alaska Triangle. The area known as the Alaska Triangle has drawn comparisons to the famous Bermuda Triangle, well known for the unexplained vanishing of ships and planes over many years, without a clear reason. Within this mysterious Alaska Triangle is Mount Hayes. It's not only the tallest peak in the state of Alaska, but also a place of confusion and suspicion, especially in the eyes of the United States government due to theories about aliens. Many people claim to have seen unidentified flying objects, UFOs, around Mount Hayes, describing them as flying saucers or bright, unusual lights. There's a common belief among locals that there could be a hidden base for aliens within this mountain. This is because many have noticed that the UFOs seem to vanish into thin air while over the mountain, suggesting there could be a hidden passage or portal where these UFOs disappear into the mountain itself. For a very long time, the only way people believed that Mount Hayes was a central location for UFO sightings was through stories told by those who saw something strange there. This changed in the year 1995, however, when secret documents previously kept from the public were released. These documents contained information about Mount Hayes and were linked to a highly secretive government operation known as Stargate. According to these once secret files, the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, was involved in this project, and within the documents, it was explicitly stated that Mount Hayes could potentially be housing an underground facility not of this world. Project Stargate was a secret plan started by the CIA during a time called the Cold War. This was a period when the United States and the Soviet Union, which is now mainly Russia, were not fighting but were very suspicious of each other. The main goal of Project Stargate was to look into and develop special mental abilities for the Army and spy work. One of the key skills they were interested in was called remote viewing. This is supposed to be a special power where a person can see events, places, or information from a very long distance away, using only their mind without actually being there. The reason why the CIA decided to start Project Stargate was because they heard rumors that the Soviet Union was spending a lot of money, believed to be about 60 million rubles every year, on studying mind powers, which they called psychotronic research. This was a big deal because it meant that the Soviet Union might be able to do things that the US could not, like spying without physically being in a place or influencing things with just the mind. The United States did not want to be left behind in this strange area of research that was very different from regular spying or military techniques. They thought if the Soviet Union could do it, they should be able to do it too, so they wouldn't be at a disadvantage. The project, which had several names like Scanate, Grillflame, Center Lane, Sunstreak, and eventually Stargate, started in the 1970s and went on until the middle of the 1990s. The Stanford Research Institute, SRI, in Menlo Park, California, was one of the key places where they did the first tests. Here they experimented with people like Uri Geller, who became famous for his ability to bend spoons, to see if they really had psychic powers. At the beginning, there was a lot of excitement about the potential of these abilities. However, many in the scientific world, including a man named Ray Hyman, did not believe in the abilities of these individuals, considering them to be untrustworthy. Over the years, the main goal of the Stargate project was to find out if it was possible to use psychic abilities to collect secret information. They thought these skills could be used for different purposes, such as finding people who were lost or predicting what might happen in the future. The project employed people who claimed they could do remote viewing, which means they said they could see places and things far away without being there. One of these people was Joseph McMoneagle, who said he was involved in hundreds of different missions using his special skills. There were stories of some big successes, like finding a Soviet plane that had crashed in Africa using these psychic methods. However, these stories are surrounded by a lot of doubts, and many people do not believe they are true. The results and effectiveness of the Stargate project were always a subject of debate. Some said it was a breakthrough in intelligence gathering, while others saw it as a waste of time and resources. The journey into the unknown doesn't end here. Let's find out the consequences when secrets from another world are revealed. The mystery of Patrick Price. Over the years, the initiative known as Project Stargate received more funds and underwent several name changes in hopes of better outcomes. However, despite these efforts, the project consistently faced doubt and criticism. These critiques came from two main groups: scientists, who rely on hard evidence and rigorous testing, and government evaluators, whose job is to assess the effectiveness and value of government projects. Their skepticism stemmed from the project's unconventional focus and unproven methods. As time went on, particularly in the 1990s, the scrutiny intensified. A significant moment came when a prominent group called the American Institutes for Research, a well-respected research body, conducted an in-depth examination of Project Stargate. Their investigation was thorough, looking at all aspects of the project to evaluate its legitimacy and effectiveness. The central part of this project was something called remote viewing, a practice where individuals claim to see locations, people, or objects far away without any conventional means of information gathering, relying instead on supposed psychic abilities. The American Institutes for Research concluded that there was no credible evidence to support the claims that remote viewing was a real or effective phenomenon. This conclusion was a heavy blow to the project. Despite the effort, time, and resources put into Project Stargate, the lack of verifiable results led to its downfall. The authorities, influenced by the findings of the investigation, decided to shut down the project. They also declassified and released many documents related to the project, making the details of their efforts public for the first time. In the aftermath, even though some of the outcomes from Project Stargate were intriguing or did not follow usual patterns, suggesting something out of the ordinary, there was still no concrete evidence to back up the existence of psychic abilities. Furthermore, the project failed to uncover any significant or actionable intelligence that could be used in defense or national security efforts. The results, such as they were, didn't meet the requirements needed for governmental or military application. Now, if the story so far has made you raise your eyebrows, wait until you hear how they tried to find out all these things. Let's dive deeper into Project Stargate, which was a highly confidential project run by the CIA. This project tried to find out about hidden military bases of aliens by using a special method called remote viewing. This was not just any method, but involved a unique kind of mind power. In remote viewing, a person who is thought to have psychic abilities sits in one place but tries to see and describe places or events happening far away using just their mind. This unusual technique wasn't just for fun. It was actually used a lot during the tense times of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. Imagine someone sitting in a room and being able to describe what's happening on the other side of the world without moving an inch. That's what they were trying to achieve with remote viewing. Project Stargate had one big goal: to find out secret things about what Russia was planning by using psychics, whom they called psychic spies. The most well-known psychic spy from this project was a man named Patrick Price, who used to work as a police officer. Patrick Price became really famous because of something unusual he said he saw. During a time when he was using his mind to see distant places, a process known as remote viewing, he claimed to have discovered something incredible at Mount Hayes. Patrick Price told everyone at the CIA about what he saw during his remote viewing. He explained that he saw things under the mountain like tunnels, pathways, and a whole big research center hidden inside. He described seeing things you would find in a science lab: instruments for measuring, lots of computers, and all kinds of scientific tools. But the thing that really made everyone stop and listen was when he said he saw aliens working there, right alongside military people, inside that hidden base in the remote parts of the mountain. After he talked about these things, something really strange and sad happened. Just a few days later, Patrick Price died under mysterious circumstances. This made a lot of people start asking questions. Did the US government have something to do with his death? Were they trying to keep him quiet because he knew too much? Some people started to wonder if he was like other people who know big secrets and then suddenly can't talk about them anymore. And it makes you think, are aliens still using that base in the mountain in Alaska? Could there be truth to what Patrick Price said he saw? The whole situation leaves us with more questions than answers. What really happened to Patrick Price? And what is the truth about the alien base in Mount Hayes? Is Alaska's secret alien base just a wild story? Or is there truth to these unearthly claims? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more mind-bending mysteries and revelations.